Friends, you already know that long before modern science, satellites, and deep-sea exploration, humans feared the ocean more than any other place on Earth. Some dangers were visible, storms, waves, and jagged rocks, but others were hidden beneath the surface. For centuries, sailors, explorers, and naval officers documented what they believed lived in the depths. These weren't fantasy novels or movies. They were logbooks, ship records, sketches, and eyewitness reports written by people whose lives depended on understanding the sea. And long before cameras could reach the deep ocean, humans recorded what they saw in the only ways they could: drawings, paintings, maps, and written descriptions. That's what makes today's video different. Because in this video, we're not talking about imaginary creatures created for entertainment. We're looking at the last recorded sightings, illustrations, and documented accounts of mythological sea creatures. Beings that humans once believed were real, feared, and responsible for countless disasters at sea. Creatures that appeared again and again across different cultures, in different centuries, in different oceans. So today, I'll show you 8 mythological sea creatures that were once treated as real threats, and the final moments when humanity slowly stopped believing they existed. Let's begin. Number 8. The Sirens. Our first creature comes from the ancient Mediterranean. Sirens were believed to inhabit rocky islands near dangerous coastlines. Unlike later romantic depictions, early records described them as dangerous, deceptive beings whose voices were more lethal than any weapon. Sailors reported hearing haunting songs drifting across the water, songs so beautiful they overwhelmed reason. Ships would change course without explanation, steering directly into rocks while crews ignored all warnings. Several historical accounts describe entire crews surviving shipwrecks but being unable to explain why they ignored obvious danger. Survivors claimed they heard the song clearly, yet couldn't remember the melody afterward, only the overwhelming feeling that it felt necessary to follow it. Some sailors even reported crewmates covering their ears in panic, while others walked calmly toward the edge of the ship, unmoved by shouts or physical restraint. These details appear in multiple records from different centuries, written by people who never knew one another, yet their descriptions remain disturbingly similar. Ancient Greek maps often marked certain waters as Serenum Scopuli, siren rocks, warning sailors to avoid them entirely. Some of the last recorded sightings come from medieval sailors who described hearing singing near fog-covered shores shortly before wrecks occurred. As navigation improved and sea routes became better mapped, reports of sirens slowly vanished. Whether caused by echoing winds, rare marine sounds, or pure terror, sirens faded from records as science replaced superstition. Number 7. El Gran Maja. El Gran Maja was a massive sea serpent described in South American maritime folklore. Sailors reported seeing enormous coils beneath the surface, long enough to wrap around ships. Unlike aggressive monsters, El Gran Maja was said to move slowly and silently, often disappearing without causing direct damage. Several captains wrote that encounters with El Gran Maja were marked by an unnatural stillness at sea. Winds would die without warning, waves would flatten, and the water would darken, as if something enormous had passed beneath the hull. Some sailors claimed they felt their ships lift slightly, as though resting on something solid just below the surface, before slowly settling back into the water. In a few cases, crews reported hearing deep, hollow vibrations through the wooden planks. Not a sound, but a pressure that lasted several minutes before vanishing completely. No attack followed. No damage was visible. Only the certainty that something massive had been there and chose not to surface. Ships that vanished near certain waters were often blamed on the creature, especially when no wreckage was found. Spanish colonial records from the 1700s include sketches of enormous serpentine creatures labeled simply as La Gran Maja. As shipping technology improved and shipwrecks became easier to explain, sightings stopped. The creature faded from official records, but never fully from legend. Number 6. The Loch Ness Monster. Although often associated with a lake, the Loch Ness Monster is one of the most documented aquatic legends in history. Reports date back over 1,500 years, describing a large, long-necked creature surfacing briefly before disappearing underwater. What makes Nessie unique is how long sightings continued. In the early 1900s, photographs began circulating worldwide. Though debated, these images cemented the creature in public consciousness. What many people don't realize is that several sightings came from trained observers, military personnel, engineers, and local authorities, not tourists. In multiple reports, witnesses described the creature surfacing silently, remaining visible for only seconds, then sinking straight down without creating waves. Sonar operators also reported large moving objects deep beneath the lake that did not match fish or known debris. These readings appeared briefly, changed direction, and vanished before equipment could lock onto them. No physical proof was ever recovered, only moments of data, photographs too unclear to confirm, and witnesses who stood by what they saw for the rest of their lives. As sonar scanning and underwater exploration increased, belief slowly declined, but sightings never fully stopped. To this day, the Loch Ness monster remains one of the last aquatic legends people still seriously investigate. Number 5. The Ningen. The Ningen is one of the most recent mythological sea creatures to enter human records. Japanese sailors working in Antarctic waters reported seeing a massive, pale humanoid figure rising from the ocean. Descriptions were disturbingly consistent: smooth white skin, enormous size, and a vaguely human shape. Several crew members described the encounter as deeply unsettling rather than frightening. They reported the creature remaining completely still at the surface, as if observing the ship, before slipping back into the water without a splash. Some claimed its size was impossible to judge, larger than a boat, yet moving with unnatural ease. What disturbed witnesses most was its shape. Unlike whales or icebergs, the figure appeared symmetrical, with long arms pressed against its sides and a rounded head that briefly reflected light before disappearing. No sound, no disturbance. Just a silent presence that left crews shaken long after the encounter ended. Whenever ships approached, the creature submerged instantly. No official photographs were released, but sketches circulated among maritime communities. As satellite imaging and modern surveillance expanded, sightings stopped. Whether misidentified ice formations or something else, the Ningen vanished quietly from reports, leaving only drawings and stories behind. Number 4. The Bloop. In 1997, underwater microphones detected an extremely powerful sound in the Pacific Ocean. The sound was louder than known whales, louder than earthquakes, and came from impossible depths. What made the Bloop especially disturbing wasn't just its volume, it was its structure. Scientists noted that the sound rose and fell in frequency, almost as if it were moving through the water rather than breaking ice. The signal traveled across thousands of kilometers and was detected by sensors separated by vast distances, suggesting an origin of enormous scale. Several researchers quietly admitted that if the sound had been biological, the creature producing it would have been far larger than any known animal to ever exist. No known organism could survive the pressure at that depth. Yet the sound came from there anyway. Scientists named it the Bloop. While later explanations suggested ice movement, many researchers admitted the signal didn't perfectly match known patterns. For a brief moment, the world wondered if something massive still lived beneath the sea. After years of silence, the Bloop disappeared from scientific discussion, becoming a modern legend born from technology. Number 3. The Hydra. The Hydra originated in ancient Greek mythology but was treated as a real creature for centuries. Described as a massive water serpent with multiple heads, the Hydra was believed to inhabit swamps and coastal waters. Sailors feared that attacking it would only make it stronger, as 2 heads would grow for every one destroyed. Ancient records describe encounters where weapons appeared useless against the creature. Sailors claimed that when one head was severed, 2 more emerged almost immediately, thrashing violently through the water. Some accounts mention ships retreating after repeated attacks, convinced the creature could not be killed by conventional means. What's especially unsettling is how consistent these descriptions are across different regions and centuries. The idea of regeneration appears again and again, suggesting either a shared belief rooted in fear or repeated encounters with something behaving in a way no known animal could explain. Early illustrations show it towering over ships, its coils wrapped around shorelines. As wetlands were drained and coastlines developed, Hydra sightings stopped entirely. The creature survived only in stories, no longer blamed for disappearances or shipwrecks. Number 2. The Kraken. Few sea creatures were feared more than the Kraken. Scandinavian sailors described it as so large it could be mistaken for an island. Ships that anchored near it were pulled underwater when it submerged. Naval records from the 1700s reference massive whirlpools appearing suddenly, strong enough to destroy ships. Several sailors described the sea itself changing behavior moments before an encounter. The water would grow unnaturally calm, as if the ocean were holding its breath, before massive tentacle-like shapes surfaced around the ship. Some accounts mention thick, ridged limbs wrapping around hulls, crushing wood effortlessly. Survivors often admitted they never saw the creature's full body, only parts of it. Yet they were convinced what they faced was alive, deliberate, and intelligent. What's most unsettling is how these descriptions appear across different Scandinavian regions, written by sailors who had never met, yet described the same terrifying sequence. Some believe giant squids inspired the legend, but sailors insisted the Kraken was far larger. As ocean mapping improved, Kraken sightings vanish, replaced by scientific explanations. But its legend never truly died. Number 1. Leviathan. Our final creature is the most ancient and the most terrifying. Leviathan appears in religious texts, ancient maps, and early naval accounts as a colossal sea serpent capable of destroying entire fleets. It represented chaos itself, storms, floods, and the uncontrollable power of the sea. Early sailors described Leviathan not as a simple animal, but as a moving force of nature. Entire storms were blamed on its passage beneath the waves. Some accounts describe massive ridges breaking the ocean's surface, followed by violent swells that shattered ships without warning. Survivors often claimed they never saw the creature's full body, only endless coils vanishing into the depths. Yet they were certain the destruction was intentional. What makes Leviathan different from other sea legends is how widely it appears. In religious scripture, medieval bestiaries, and naval charts across multiple civilizations, all describing the same overwhelming presence. Some maps marked entire regions as Leviathan waters, warning ships away. As science explained storms and ocean currents, Leviathan faded from belief. But for centuries, it was considered very real. For thousands of years, humans believed the ocean was alive with monsters. Not because they were foolish, but because they were afraid of what they couldn't understand. These creatures may not have existed as described, but the fear was real, the records were real, and the belief was real. As technology advanced, these legends slowly disappeared, not in battle, but in silence. And today, all that remains are the final records, the last illustrations, and the last stories of creatures humanity once believed ruled the sea. Because sometimes legends don't die. They're simply replaced by explanations. Thanks for watching.